welcome back to Beauty Bee, where I have been on a eyeshadow very low buy, pretty much no buy, for about 3 months at this point. And it hasn't been a complete success. My original goal was to buy either one small palette or two single shadows through the 7-month period that I was going on this no buy. I've actually ended up bringing in 5 shadows. 2 of them I received through Ipsy. I didn't select them, so I'm not really counting them towards my total, but let's talk about them anyway. It was this duo from Shades by Shan, I believe. It was, one of those little brands that you've never heard of that you get in subscription boxes. And there is this cool toned shimmery shade and a matte wine. I believe that the matte wine shade is called Pinot. I don't actually remember what the shimmer is. These were packaged as a duo when I got them. This reddish shade was always kind of weak, and it only got worse after I repressed it, so that was kind of a bummer. This shimmery shade is actually really lovely though, and I'm very happy to have received it. It's not super similar to anything else I own, and it has such a pretty reflect to it. As a 100-point perk from Sephora, actually the only point perk that I've ever redeemed, I got this single shadow from Natasha Denona. This is from the Camel 5-pan palette, I believe. I think this is the camel color in the Camel palette, and it is lovely. It's so smooth, blends nicely. This is just a really nice crease color is how I've generally been using it. It is not super unique to my collection. I definitely have some things that are fairly similar, but it is a really nice quality neutral, and I'm never going to complain about that. Then the final 2 shadows that have come into my collection in the last 3 months are these liquid glitters from e.l.f. I have a very yellow gold one. This is the shade 24 Karat Gold. I will give you a swatch of that. This one is a lot more opaque than the other 2 that I have. I mean, that is stunning. I think that's like a Midas touch gold. Love that. I also got the shade Disco Queen, which is holographic glitter with a little bit of a sheer silver base to it, but it's mostly just the glitter. I think that they shift when I move my hand, but I'm not 100% sure. In any case, you get the effect of a holographic glitter, and like the gold, this is very pretty. They are very different though, and I am really happy to have both of them. Also in these updates, I want to go over the items that I'm thinking about bringing into my collection once this low buy is over. Really, it's a no buy at this point because I have more than used up my purchase allowance. One item that's been kind of calling to me the last few weeks is the Boudoir Noir palette from Colourpop. This is $18. It's a 12-pan palette that goes gold and sort of a golden olive color. It's very pretty. There are some shades in there that I don't have, particularly the more mustardy shades. I don't have anything really like that. However, it is an $18 palette, and I don't think that I need to spend $18 on it. I think that I have seen this on sale at Ulta for more like $10.80. That would make sense. That would be 40% off. And I know that Colourpop has put it at 25% off at least once. This is one of those palettes that I feel like would be a good purchase for me at the $12, $10 price point, not so much the $18, because though there are definitely shades in there that I don't have other places, I definitely have golds and I have some olives, so I could get probably looks that were quite similar to what I could get from this Boudoir Noir palette, but it is still pretty. I'm also definitely finding myself a lot more drawn to singles, or at least pans that I could easily pop out. Things like Colourpop or Tarte, where the individual pans are magnetic and you don't need to destroy the packaging to pop out a shade and put it in your own palette. I've really been enjoying pulling together little palettes. For example, I have this little pink and purple one that I've pulled together and been using quite a bit recently. I think that depotting using these magnetic palettes has really allowed me to examine the shadows on their own without the context of the palette around it. There are some shades, for example, even that Shade by Shan lighter shade, this glowy pinky shade that I showed earlier. I don't feel like I really understood what color it was until I took it away from that more reddish shade. It had always just been a piece of a whole, and then taking it out of that palette led to it being a whole by itself and something that I could more easily see myself mixing in with other colors. And I think that, especially for this shade, I've definitely gotten more use out of it because I depotted it than I think I would have otherwise. So going off this whole magnetic pans and singles, I also was kind of looking at another shadow from Colourpop, the shade Tiki, which is this really light sunshine yellow shade. It's a matte. I don't have a yellow matte, and the Boudoir Noir would give me some more mustardy yellows, but it wouldn't give me a true yellow. I do think that a yellow matte would be really fun to put in my crease with a yellow lid. That just seems very summer and very pretty, but I don't have anything like it, and I think that is something that I would like to add at some point. That Tiki shade would be $4.50. I was also looking at some singles from Give Me Glow. They would be $7 each. I do think you get a pretty big pan with Give Me Glow. I think they are more akin to like a Juvia's Place 9-pan palette than like a Colourpop single. And from their swatches online, as well as some videos I've seen on YouTube, specifically Teresa is Dead, I've seen her do a few videos on Give Me Glow, and their shimmers look stunning. So I, last night, picked out a handful of shades that I would be really interested in trying. I would probably not buy all of these, but I think there's a good chance that I would purchase at least some of them if my no-buy ended tomorrow. One shade that I'm pretty sure would work its way into my basket is Hex My X. This is really lovely looking. It is a gray lilac metallic, but it has quite a bit of blue to it. I really like a more blue toned purple. I think that they are a little bit more fun, a little bit more unique than one that leans a little bit more pink. And the shine on this is just gorgeous. Kind of similar, Lavender Taupe is a metallic, well, taupey lavender. It's quite a bit darker than Hex My X, but I think they might actually make a really lovely eye look together, using Hex My X on most of the lid and then deepening up the outer V with Lavender Taupe. I could see myself doing that look quite often and really enjoying it. Another shade that I was very interested in was Spring Fling. This was a blue-green metallic with a very golden shift. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. These are all really pretty. That's why they're on the list. But I don't think that I have anything that is super similar to this. Probably the closest things that I have are from my NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. And there is a like minty green shade and a blue shade. The blue has a little bit of a greenish shift to it when it hits the light the right way. But It's a glitter, and I do need to use glitter glue with it, and I can get some fallout even when I do use glitter glue if I'm not careful. Also, it doesn't have a golden shift. That's just missing entirely, and I think that this would be a really fun shade for me to play around with. I didn't realize just how many of these were going to be cool tone metallics when I was putting together the list, but that makes sense. That's very much what I've been drawn to recently. I feel like cool tones work out really well with my coloring, and they're just shades that I think are pretty in general. Another one that I wanted was Kiwi, which is a minty green metallic. This shade leans a little bit more. This shade is a little bit darker and a little bit more blue than the mint shade that I already own. It also looks to be more smooth and metallic rather than glittery and pretty sheer the way that the mint that I own is. So I would be very interested in trying that. I was also interested in trying two mattes. The first is Watermelon, which is like a bright red pink. I don't have anything similar to that, and while I don't know that I necessarily want a big pan of that shade, I think it is something that I would like to at least find something similar. And the other shade, and the other matte shade that I was interested in was Cherry Mocha, which is like a deep rosy matte. I thought that that would be great to put in my crease and in my outer corner when I was doing more pink looks. I didn't necessarily want to go into burgundy to deepen things up or go into brown. I thought that that really rosy shade would work out quite well. I also think that I might be able to use that shade as like a really deep blush for winter. That could be fun. I also didn't realize just how many fruit shades that I wanted. I wanted kiwi and watermelon and cherry. Like, I was listening to Harry Styles as I was on the Give Me Glow site, and I kind of wonder if that's what influenced me to put kiwi, watermelon, and the cherry shade on my list. If I ever end up purchasing those shades, I'll have to post like a really clickbaity video called like Harry Styles made me buy it or something. And then finally, an item that didn't really appeal to me at first, but has kind of been growing on me over the last few weeks, is the Nyx Ultimate Festival. This is in the same format as my Nyx Ultimate Utopia palette, which I absolutely adore. And these aren't really my colors generally. I mean, they're very pretty, but they're not the colors that I am most drawn to. However, I think that might actually work to its advantage because they're not my preferred shades, so I don't really have them. They are those shades that I would appreciate having around once in a while. It has some bright oranges, it has matte yellows, it has a matte watermelon shade. They're the types of colors that I think I would get decent use out of. They're just not things that I am super drawn to or honestly super willing to shell out $4.50 or $7 a pop to get singles of. I think that if I could get this on a good sale at Ulta, let's say a 40% off, 30% off Nyx sale, the palette is originally $18, and I think that if I could get this for $12.60, which would be 30% off, or $10.80, which would be 40% off, that might be a really good purchase for me. It would definitely expand my options. Not super excited about any particular item within, but I do think that it would give me some added versatility, and I think I would probably really enjoy it. I really like the formula on my Ultimate Utopia palette, and if this is anything similar, I think that it would be very workable for me. So I think my no-buy has been going relatively well. I may not have stayed within the letter of my rules, but I've definitely stayed within the spirit of them. And I can't say that I'm looking forward to the next few months of no-buy because, I mean, what is there to look forward to? But I do think that I am learning things. I think that I am playing around a little bit more with my makeup. For example, today I have a blue over my black liner, and it's giving me this really pretty metallic teal that I don't know is necessarily translating that well on camera. I don't know that I would be experimenting as much if I was constantly bringing in new things. I also don't know that I would be improving as much in my makeup application. Okay. All right. I'm sure that I will have more to talk about in the next update, which will probably be next month. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you consider liking and subscribing if you did. I'm already looking forward to the next video. Bye!